All right, Hunter, what is this light?
This light that we're talking about today is the CF100 by ZHIYUN. They are primarily a gimbal company is what they started off with, but then they kind of morphed into this lighting company, and their lights get better and better and better and better. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in the future. But this is a wand light, as I would call it. So 3/4 of it is light, and the other quarter is battery. It also has like a ton of fans on the back to keep it cool, so you can throw it into your bag immediately after you're using it, rather than some of their lights where they would be having some heat issues and dissipation wasn't really there for them. This light, they've done a really good job with keeping it cooled down. The controls on it are really easy to understand. It has a really nice LED screen, so you can see kind of in any environment what your settings are. And yeah, it's RGB. It has a ton of effects, and one of the effects I like the most is 1 through 5 for what I would call like light trail effects. So if you like to do long exposure stuff, it gives you a ton of creativity within your photography. And even if you want to do long exposure video, I think that would also be something that would work really well for you. So anyways, that's kind of what the light is. Wand light, RGB with a bunch of effects and CCT built in.
So what type of content creator is this light for? Like, who would use it? Who would get the most?
Who do I think this light is for? I think this light is for anybody that wants to have something that's easy to throw into a bag. Also, having the ability to have all of the amazing effects that it does have in it. I think that if you like to do light trails as a photographer or any kind of special effects in your videos, it would be really fun to have, and a really easy way to utilize something that has the creative capacity to do so, to kind of bring your photography to life. ZHIYUN's done a really good job with their RGB lights, period, because through the spectrum of the light, from 0 to 100, the saturation doesn't deteriorate any like a lot of lights do. And I've noticed that with the 2 ZHIYUN lights that I've used, including the X60 RGB. That light's incredible as well. Setting up like an interview style like this, I'm using the light right now as we speak, and it's doing a good job lighting the scene. It's got 100 watts, so you can get away with doing a lot. It does come with a modifier as well as some barn doors to make it even brighter. I really like the max mode on it. It's very bright, it's a lot brighter than I'd expected it to be, which is always a nice thing to have extra, but it has to be, I think, at 4,000 or 4,300 Kelvin in order to use that max brightness. And the battery has lasted a really long time. I've actually been doing this test for a while, as you've seen, and yeah, it looks great, honestly. It's just nice, the size of it. I was expecting it to be a lot bigger, but it's not that bad at all. And honestly, if you had 2 of them to have for practicals, or even using one as a practical, honestly, in a video would be amazing. And I'll probably set some up whenever me and you are setting up lights around to see what it looks like. But yeah, I think it's for anybody that's into photography or videography, really. It's just a capable light, honestly. There's probably not going to be a lot of diffusion options that come out for this thing, because it is a bar, or a wand light essentially. So you won't be able to use Bowen's mount like you were talking about earlier. And so you're kind of stuck with the diffusion that it has, but honestly it's pretty good. And it already has diffusion built in, and then it comes with diffusion, so that's really nice of this light.
All right, Hunter, what are the pros and cons of this light?
I think we'll start off with the cons. The con is that it is plasticky, and the dial on it feels a little finicky, but I think they did that to keep it light, in my opinion. Those are cons for sure. Another con is that it has 1 quarter mount thread instead of 2. It would be nice to have one on the side so it could be parallel to the ground, like if you did have a tripod or something, rather than having to use a C-stand, kind of like we're using right now, to have it more vertical than horizontal, if that makes sense. So the lack of an extra quarter mount thread is kind of a con. They advertised that the barn doors would allow to really cut down the light, where it would be a very direct, small, narrow light. And you and I tried this, and we cannot get it to work really well. So I think that is false advertising a bit, although the barn doors are incredible, because right now it's allowing us to create a separation from the background, because we're not shining light back that way. So the barn doors are really nice to have, but they are not as good as they made them seem in the advertisement. But it does It does work. It's just not as good as you think it would be. Let's see, is there another con? I can't think. Oh, there's no Bluetooth capability with this, unfortunately, so you won't be able to use the app that they have for like the X60 RGB, which is kind of sad because I would have liked to see that, and I'm sure they will have a model that does have that, but unfortunately this one does not. The pros for this light are it's very bright, 100 watts, small package, RGB, lots of effects. The size of it's really nice, the weight of it's really nice, and just having that ability to travel with something like this and throw it in your bag. The dissipation of heat very quickly is really nice. It just doesn't get really hot, and the amount of LEDs that are in it are fantastic because there's so many different variations of effects and things that you can do with it. It's easy to use. Anybody could pick it up and use it. It's not hard at all. It's only got a few buttons, and you'll figure it out within a few seconds how it actually works. So I would say those are the pros and cons for me.
I mean, have you used this on a shoot yet, or no?
No.
Just more so stuff for you, this project?
Yeah, but I'm showing, throughout this video, I will be showing clips of things that you and I had done together with this light to showcase kind of some of the things that you would possibly do with it. Yeah. And tonight we'll be shooting some long exposure, hopefully, because I think that'll be fun.
What's the... I don't know if we talked about this earlier. What's the battery life like?
At 100%, it lasts 1 hour and 6 minutes, advertised. And we've been using this light a lot. Yeah. And it has not failed yet
you
at all.
You haven't charged it yet?
No,
right? Yeah.
No. At 50%, you get 2 hours and 27 minutes as advertised. I've not tested that fully, but I could definitely believe it because this has been going for a long time. 20%, you get 5 hours and 34 minutes. So that's what we've been shooting on mostly because it is so bright.
What's it on right now?
I think it's on 20%.
Damn.
Which is very... Let's do a test. This is 20%. I'm going to do max mode.
I feel like a director right now, dude.
Now, this is max mode, which I would never use. But if you're using max mode, which is above the 100 watts, I guess I don't know how it works, it lasts for 30 minutes. And I don't like how bright that is right now.
that's very bright. All right, and you mentioned something about the one-touch maxing or something.
Yes, like they have one-touch max, so you can get to the fullest power that it possibly has by just clicking one button, which is convenient if you're trying to run a gun and you know you're using 100%, or it's actually 100% plus max, so it like gives it even more power than you would typically get from 100. So really, I think that they're kind of bottlenecking it a bit with the 100% because it's not 100%. It's more like, I would say it's probably like actually 80, and then the 100% is the max. So that's where the battery life preservation comes in. So that's really cool. They have what's called Dynavort cooling system, which is a fluid dynamic and dynamic cooling algorithm that enables it to essentially cool down instantly. And they know that they have not been really known for cooling, and I'm really glad that they put that in this light.
That's great.
Sweet. I think honestly, in my opinion, this light it's gonna be great for people that need something like this. There's not much that it's missing other than the Bluetooth, really. That capability would have been nice to have, and that's unfortunate that it's not there. But other than that, man, honestly, it's a really great light, and it's bright as hell. And the battery life on it is sick. And also, you can charge it and run it at the same time, so you could, run a DC cable to it and just use it forever if you wanted to as a steady light. You can also use USB-C and DC, to run the light itself, which is sick. It's a cool light. I mean, they've just been killing it with the lights, man.
All right, so final question that I have.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this to someone that doesn't have a lot of experience shooting with flash or lights or any of that? Would you say that this is a good light to start off with, like for somebody beginning off with light for their photography or video?
I think if you start with this light, you're probably ahead of the game a little bit. But if you go this route, then you're jumping into like professional-ish light already, which is great. People are afraid of flashes because you don't really know how they're going to act a lot of times, and then that's like a whole learning curve. But if you're using something like this, you're going to see the final result before you even take the image because you already know what the scene looks like. So in my opinion, yes, it would be really great to actually mitigate the reason to even buy a flash in the first place, having something like this. But moreover, videography especially, this thing can fit in really small places, small corners. You can hide it easily. And I think that's really a nice way to, especially for people that are just getting started, they're going to need to know how to hide lights, and using something like this would be very beneficial for them. And it's nice that it does come with a diffuser as well with the barn doors that we're using right now, because it's obviously nice and soft and I look beautiful. So
Yeah.